Let me start by saying, over the last 10 years of being on the internet, I have gotten very, very little hate. But I knew this was coming with the house build series. It was inevitable. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to address 2 common comments. The first I'm going to address right now, then we're going to take a little bit of a break so we can just talk about personal finance in general, and then we'll come back to that second comment. First comment, Joey Work says, sad to say you have officially become unrelatable. Wishing you all the best, exclamation mark. I'm gonna go over to my $1,200 stove from Home Depot and cook some protein pancakes. Thanks for all the years, exclamation mark. This was on the video that I was talking about the kitchen appliances for the new home, and this kind of goes to show that people aren't grounded in reality. And I'm gonna dissect this, so just stick with me here. First and foremost, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. We live in $1 million home now. So me building this home doesn't change anything, actually. So I guess if that made me unrelatable, I'm already unrelatable, maybe you just didn't know. But besides the point, there's a lot of things about me that are extremely unrelatable. And what I think what you mean when you say that maybe I was relatable is because I'm a normal guy, right? I work a normal job. I am not an influencer, and that is much different than what you typically see on YouTube. But hopefully that's the extent of my relatability in most cases, because nowadays most people are entitled and kind of live in the world of mediocrity, and I don't feel that's necessarily me at all. Now, think about my life, and I just want to walk you through this. So right now, it is Friday night, and I am working. I'm going to film this. I'm going to edit. I would rather be upstairs with my family and doing that, but I work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Is that relatable? Because if not, then you can't really complain that you got a $1,200 stove. And again, I'm not saying that I'm any way better than anyone because we're buying a more expensive stove. This sounds silly, right? But a lot of what I do is unrelatable to most people regardless of what I buy, right? Getting up at 4 in the morning, I work a much more demanding, stressful job than most people. This is the life that I chose. And a lot of it is out of the ordinary. And that's kind of the way I designed it. So I guess I say all that to say, don't cherry pick what's relatable, because what you're seeing now is related to the effort and the work that's been happening for the last 10 or 15 years and a lot of delayed gratification. And I never want anyone to come here and think that that's unattainable, because that's not what it is. If anything, you should look at this and think, wow, if that idiot can accomplish his goals, then anyone can. I still have videos on this channel. You can go back and look at the home I grew up in. You can see it right now. It is probably valued at $80,000, $90,000. Okay, I've come a long way since then. And guess what? You can too. So Joey, thank you for announcing your departure. No hard feelings. I'm gonna get back to work. Maybe you should too. Hey Griff, you want some pancakes? Oh, you're gonna put the baby seat back? You know what? I gotta tell you something, buddy. There's some people on the internet being mean to your daddy. Can you tell them to stop that? Say, knock that off.
No.
But here's the thing. If you want to feel better, all you have to do is make some PE Science protein pancakes. You're gonna want the cinnamon roll protein mix. You're gonna want the cake pop protein for some added protein and flavor. You're gonna wanna use code Travis to save 10%. The best protein pancakes you'll ever have in your life. 340 calories, over 40 grams of protein, tastes delicious. Now this is something that's unrelatable to anything else. Are they good, buddy? Very yummy. Are you steal my pancake? No. There you go. You can steal my pancake anytime, bud. We had a very proud parenting moment today. This is Griffin's 3rd soccer practice. Now, on the first practice, he was kind of all over the place, wasn't really conforming with the coach, was just not really listening to directions very well. But today, you did so well. You got through the whole practice. You kicked a goal at the end. It's amazing watching your children grow up, develop, do even the smallest things. I never thought that I would say this, but being a parent truly is the greatest gift of all time. Absolutely love it. You're the best, buddy. Even if you do steal my pancakes. And speaking of the kids, that is the only reason we are building a new house in the first place. We already have a beautiful home. We don't need anything more beautiful. But what we do not have here is privacy in terms of wooded lot and also space. I grew up on a farm. I really valued being able to go outside and adventure. So being able to find a few acres is going to be really important for them developmentally, we believe. And also, what we are trying to accomplish is getting them into a home that they will grow up in forever. I went to the same school my entire life. I have the same best friend I've had since the second grade. I do not want to move them around. So yes, we are getting more than we need right now, but we wanted to get into that location before my oldest starts kindergarten, and that way they can grow up there. They have that one place they can call home, and we don't have to worry about it ever again. Hopefully. You know how life goes. But unless something crazy happens, we're not going anywhere else. And by the way, I know everybody was really worried about the baby's sleep regression. Still regressing. So in the meantime, cheers. And also, I know this sounds a little bit crazy to like normal people, but we're trying to really create kind of like a wellness mecca. You all know it's extremely important to us. It is a core family value. So to be able to have a little kids gym and to be able to have nature and all of these things that we want them to grow up in is really the primary driver of doing this whole project. So I understand it's not for everyone. Everyone has different circumstances. Everyone has different priorities, but that's just the decision we are making. Now, before we talk personal finance, the last thing I want to say is I would prefer to not share any of this with anyone, not post any pictures, not do any videos on it, because it's a personal thing and I have no desire to try to flex on anybody. But this social media thing that I do, this is a business. This is a revenue generating venture, and I have to put up content on a consistent basis. And when you work a demanding job like I do, and then whatever little free time is now getting monopolized by this house process, I'm like, what else am I actually going to show you? It's there, it's in front of me. And lastly, I do think there is an educational value if you're looking to build a custom home, because it is extremely complex. And I wish I would have had some more information from someone that could just put it in layman's terms. It's not trying to sell me anything. So that is an element of it, but more so it's selfish, right? I've got to get out content. I've got to keep these videos coming. So if you don't like it, I completely get it. You'll know what videos are about the house. You can skip them completely. I don't want anybody to stop watching me, but if it's not for you, it's not for you. Now, before we get into the second comment, I thought it was important to kind of give you my philosophy on personal finance, and maybe this will all make sense. For me, the number one dumbest reason to ever buy something is because someone else is buying it. The second dumbest reason to ever buy something is just because you can afford it. Because by definition, if you just keep buying things you can afford, inevitably you won't be able to afford them any longer. And the most important financial principle is delayed gratification. In other words, financial discipline, a skill that not many people have these days because it's hard. Now, behind me, you will see my car. This is a 2017 Volkswagen Tiguan. This was Megan's old car when we were dating. This has been paid off for many, many years. Now, when someone drives down the road in their $50,000 truck, nobody bats an eye because everyone has accepted it as normal. Now, for me, that doesn't have any utility. All this does is get me from point A to point B. So why would I invest my money in a depreciating asset when the opportunity cost of that money going towards an investment that's going to grow exponentially? See where I'm going with this? Now look, this is just one example, but my point is all my coworkers, all my peers, they all drive much nicer vehicles. I didn't feel that that was an important area to put my money into, and I have extrapolated that into many other areas. So 10 years later, 15 years later, now I am in a position to buy something that is extremely meaningful to my family and I. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but that probably isn't relatable to you. Most people don't want delayed gratification. They just want everything right now. And I don't judge you for that. Hey, you only live once. You don't even know if you're going to live tomorrow. So I completely appreciate your perspective. But for me, I just chose a different course. And by the way, if you live in the South, you know it has been 1,000 degrees this summer. That's why I'm so happy that these PE Science watermelon electrolytes are back in stock. They are so delicious, but also help replenish when it is this hot outside. So when I go on my walk, I like to just mix one packet into a water bottle so I'm not getting dehydrated and I am replenished accordingly. All right, let's go get some steps.
The other element that people don't really talk about or consider is I don't have financial vices. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't gamble, I don't go out, I don't cheat on my wife. I don't do all of these things that a lot of people do to essentially throw their money away. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter how much money you make. If you can't keep it, there's absolutely no purpose. Now, even with that said, you cannot just save your way to financial freedom. So you have to learn to maximize your earnings potential. And this is very uncomfortable. Most people are not willing to do it. I think some people conveniently forget. I completely changed my career at 30 years old. After I already had a, quote unquote successful career in the accounting department, I had my master's in accounting, but I just saw that it was not going to get me where I wanted to go. So at 30 years old, I moved across the country and started a brand new profession. And yes, it was risky. Yes, it was a big learning curve, but it paid off immensely. And in addition to that, when I'm not working my full job, I have this social media business that I dedicate my nights and my weekends to supplement my income there. So it's really not like this was just all by luck. But we have to address the elephant in the room because there's a lot of people out there working a lot harder than me that have sacrificed even more, that have not been as fortunate as me. So let's address this second comment.
The second comment from Joy D. Ouch. So out of touch it seems. I remember watching you years ago. I don't recognize Travis as buying $11,000 stove. Again, a decade ago, I probably couldn't have done that. Things have changed, but I want to address this comment head on because I am not naive. People are absolutely struggling right now, and that was probably the biggest thing I was reluctant about putting out this type of content because it doesn't seem fair. I mean, a lot of people are struggling just to make ends meet, to have the bare minimum, just the necessities. And I completely get that. And these are good people, hardworking people. Now, of course, a lot of what you're seeing is good decision making, but a lot of this is just good circumstances. I've been very fortunate. I've been lucky. And there's no doubt about that. And so while I acknowledge that, I don't know what the expectation would be that I do any differently. If we are in a situation to provide a certain lifestyle, then that is what I'm going to do. And maybe you could argue that I should be allocating my resources elsewhere. And that, again, all of this is okay. You're allowed to have different opinions. I love living in America for that sole reason. But I just wanted to acknowledge that because I do feel for everyone. I mean, I feel it for sure. Everything's going up. I look at what our grocery bill is this year versus this time 3 years ago, and it's like, man, things are tough. So while this will definitely put a dent in our nest egg, this is just where we're going to choose to allocate our funds, given that, one, we don't take vacations, we are homebodies, so it makes the most amount of sense for us, again, just for us, to invest where we spend the most of our time, where we think we're gonna make the most impact for our children. So regardless how you feel about it, I love you guys. And I also wanna make it pretty well known that I don't think I need to justify anything to anybody. Like, you don't get to decide what I do with my life. But this was such a good opportunity because when people see headlines or video titles with any kind of drama in it, and it tends to do pretty well, and I always struggle to get thumbnails and video titles, so that's kind of why I wanted to elaborate. But ultimately, we'll continue documenting this. We're actually gonna go pick out cabinets on Monday, and if y'all were pissed about some stoves and some refrigerators, just wait till you see what these cabinets are gonna be. Y'all are gonna lose your minds. All right, let me think. Is there anything else I can try to sell y'all before we go? Watermelon, still my go-to, 400 grams. I've been tracking my macros using MacroFactor. You can get a 2 free-week subscription using my link down below. Let me think. Anything else? PE science, pretty typical. Yeah, this is, I think this is where we're gonna end it, guys. So here's how we're gonna end it. I know I got a little bit spicy in this video. Sometimes it's just a little fun to stir the pot. I'm a bit of an instigator if you didn't know. So anyway, I wanted you all to know I genuinely appreciate you. Whether this is the first video you've ever watched, whether you've been watching me for a decade, time is your most valuable asset. So the fact that you give that to me, it is never lost on me. So thank you very much. I hope that you are enjoying the content. I hope you all know that it's never coming from a place of trying to embellish a certain lifestyle or show off or whatever it is. It's literally just documenting what is going on today. And I hope you never look at it as something that's unattainable. And I could go into a full video of that, but I live a much different life now than where I came from. And I know all of you are capable of doing that exact same thing.